There you go. They carry that brand at Dillard's too, don't they? Yeah.
I think they have more selection.
This is the Grow Business Podcast with Cory Mosley.
All right.
What was the word that you used a minute ago? I forgot it when you changed the subject. What did we just say?
Oh, I don't even remember now.
Oh,
Schmedium?
No, before it wasn't Schmedium. No, it was just before that when we were talking about the potential next show.
Oh,
another show idea.
Oh, doldrums.
Doldrums. Yes,
the doldrums.
The doldrums.
It took me a minute.
That was good. That's it. Well, it's your age, but I know what it is. It's the doldrums. Right. Well, doldrum. I'm gonna look. What is the actual? I know what it means, kinda, but I want to see a state or period of inactivity, stagnation, or depression. Ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
Well, good news, folks. We will not be talking about doldrums today, but today's show brought to you by doldrums. I don't know. This is the Grow Business Podcast. If you're wondering where you are, if you hit the button somewhere and started streaming, you're like, what are these people talking about? This is the place you want to be if you're interested in growing your business. We're talking about those topics that matter most in the marketplace if you're looking to grow. And frankly, who isn't looking to grow?
Yes.
Yeah, we're happy to be here for another exciting show, or at least we think they're exciting.
We like to think so.
Yeah. Well, if we don't believe, who else will be? Who else will believe? If you're just tuning in, I'm Cory Mosley, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, LG007, Lon Graham's here.
Good to see you, Cory.
Voice of reason.
Yes, and of course, the man who is doing well in the first 1 minute and 52 seconds of the show is none other than our main man, producer, Willie H. Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
Yes. I like this. I'm pacing this out. 2 minutes in, smooth.
Right.
And I think he's got some new, because he had hit us with a few new ones last time. So maybe he shook his head no. All right. 2 steps. What is the song? 2 steps forward. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. The Paul Abdul song. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. I guess we'll take it however we can get it. So, LG, how you been?
Good, thanks. Good to see you.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'm good. I'm excited about today's show. And we had been doing the pros and cons, and we will continue to do that because I do like those.
Right.
And we've gotten some good feedback on that. Just as a different, everybody's got to have the twist.
Right.
We always want to have the twist and have something insightful. But I started to looked at what I wanted to talk about today, and I started to look at trying to make that a pros and cons thing. And I said, you know what? There really, in my opinion, aren't any cons.
Okay.
Like, there's really no reason to not do what we're talking about.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about the advantages. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 13 on the list. But we are going to be efficient.
Okay.
Because I think it's important to make the show based around my ADHD and how I consume content.
Right.
Because I don't. Very rarely will you get me to consume something like multi-hour.
Right.
And that's tough because I constantly want education, so I'm constantly reading. But the stuff that's longer, I have Steve Jobs' autobiography,
right,
and I have not read it.
Well, I've got about halfway
because
through that
it's like
3 times.
700 pages.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not that guy. You gotta, and that's how my books have been.
Right.
Position for Growth on the way, coming out this summer, will be out shortly.
Good.
CoryMosley.com to get your pre-order going. Nice plug there. But I've always written my books, like people have said to me, with like my first book in particular, like, what I loved about the book, other than the content, of course, was the fact that I travel, this person telling me, that I was able to read it on a flight.
Oh, nice.
Like I was able to get to the book.
Yeah.
Like I flew from, I can't remember, but I flew from like New Jersey to, Vegas or something.
Right.
And I was able to get through the book and get the information, and it's great. And then they put it for sale on like the usedbookstores.com site. I see my books available for resale. Why would someone do that? I don't know. Don't you want to keep it for its timelessness? My book should be right there with like, Think and Grow Rich and,
right,
and
exactly.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. How dare you? I'd like to find out who's got my book on like for resellbooks.com or something and have a few stern words. But I'm not going to talk about that.
Not everybody keeps the valuable coins, Cory.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Yeah, make me feel good about that, LG. All right, here's what I want to talk about.
Okay.
And because, our topics come from our observations in our weekly endeavors.
Correct.
Talking to clients, working with clients, prospects who have no business being clients, like all of those different, all those different things. And I try to look for, redundancies or things that I think are interesting or I find baffling. And one of the things that I find interesting is the number of business owners who don't invest nearly enough in sales skills. Right? So they know everything about financial services. They know everything about insurance.
Right.
They know everything about making, cupcakes and pies.
Right.
But they don't invest in sales skills. If I asked, if we had 100 business owners, there we go. Willie H would love it. Live studio audience coming soon. 2025. If we had 50 business owners in our studio right now, and we said by a show of hands, how many of you have made an investment? Full disclosure, I don't sell. I don't sell sales training. Right. So this isn't we're not leading into a course.
Nope.
But if I said, by show of hands, how many of you have formally done sales training courses, classes, gone live, gone to an event. We've had some great sales training organizations on some of our shows, Sandler Training, guys have been around a long time. How many of you have formally made that investment? And the amount of hands that will go up, what do you think? You think there'd be an overabundance of hands going up?
Oh, no. I think there'd be, if we used 50, I think there'd be 20% maybe.
Yeah. So, to me, that means there's a lot of opportunity because what I am seeing, because I'm in the franchise world now, right? With Pecan Jacks, pecanjacks.com. Get your pralines, get your brittles. New store opening. We're opening the first franchise stores opening. Yeah. Thank you. In Atlanta, shout out to the Ekpos in Atlanta. They're going to have a great store opening. We're really excited coming fourth quarter. But I'm in the franchise world now. And what that means is I'm observing, because one of the things that, the reason why franchises are successful, right, is because people are buying into a system and a process that's already working.
Right.
So when I see, non-franchise businesses or people just have, that have their shingle up or whatever.
Right.
One of the biggest complaints I get when I talk to those business owners that maybe have traditional businesses not affiliated with a franchise is these franchises are coming in eating our lunch.
Right.
Whether that's moving companies or dentistry or just the disruption of, because private equity is heavy now into the franchise world.
Right.
And you see that competitive landscape. And when you look at what they're doing, they're answering the phone when it rings. They're returning calls. They're replying to emails. They're building their social media up. They are building reviews. They're asking for reviews.
Right.
You've got 4 reviews. The franchise company you're competing against got 444.
Right.
Because they're focused on that.
Right.
And selling is still one of the biggest areas, because the thing I hear the most is, oh, well, Cory, I don't want to be salesy. So this is a hotbed area for you. So I'm going to turn it over and let you weigh in at this time.
Well, it's interesting, Cory. I've been in sales and sales leadership for a long, long time. And I got a call yesterday, and we've said this before, sometimes we forget what we know. And I got a call yesterday from a guy who is now into healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some corporate sales experience, but he's now into healthcare sales. He's like, it seems like it's a little bit different. But he called me and he was asking questions about things that I take for granted. And it's not that he's not a smart guy. It's not that he's not talented. It's not that he can't communicate and connect with people. But the reality of it is there are some things that are very basic elements of sales that open up opportunities to have conversations with people. And it's not throwing stuff at them to see what sticks.
Right.
And so this salesy piece, the problem that people have with sales is that when they say, I don't want to be salesy, the only thing they think about is the bad experience that they had because somebody made them feel icky. The reality of it is they don't think of the other 99 times out of 100 that somebody made their life better by having a conversation with them and exposing them to something that they didn't either know about or didn't know how it was going to benefit them.
Well, the obviously the big irritant for me coming from the auto industry is everyone's attempt to describe a bad sales thing as being a car salesman, or you sound like a used car salesman. I don't know what that means. I understand, Robin Williams played a used car salesman and there have been some movies covering it. And I understand you might have met some people, but here's what I can guarantee you. Those people that you call out using like used car salesman, they're in other fields. It's the person, not the industry.
100%.
There's nonsense in solar panels. There's nonsense in financial planning. There's nonsense in all of those areas. It's about the people. So I hate when people summarize it as a vertical. Oh, Cory, you slick. You sound like a used car salesman. I don't know what that means. Because the fundamental question is, am I solving a problem, and do you believe I can solve your problem?
Sales is a confidence business. People buy confidence. And we could talk about this for
for sure.
Years. Yes.
One of the things that's heartbreaking to me in a way is to know someone has a great product or service or really can deliver, really can solve a problem, but doesn't get the opportunity to do that because they haven't skilled up in that area. Or they do more talking than, listening. That's a big area for you. You're a big listener, which is good. I say it in jokingly, but you're a good listener in that regard, in terms of really giving people the opportunity to talk. And it's even something I have to pay attention to, because I get excited, I get excited. Like if someone is talking to me about an issue that I know I can solve or I can help them solve, I get excited. But that's not always great. That doesn't always help you.
Correct.
Because it's like you seem too overly interested. And it's a complete misread 99% of the time for people. Like, oh, this guy had so much energy to, whoa.
I feel like
let's get a low energy solution to your problem. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, and it's nice that you say that I listen. And the reality of it is, even I do it.
And you're interested. So that's a good thing about you. Like, you're interested. I'm not saying I'm not interested, but I'm interested in the moment. You will reference something. You'll be in a follow-up and reference something from 6 months ago. Now, I don't know if your secret is just like going in the system and looking at the notes. Maybe
sometimes,
but like I remember you blah 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 blah, and I got 72 other things going on. But when I'm they say it's about politicians. I don't care about your politics on here, but they would say this about Bill Clinton. One of the things about him specifically was his charisma, but one of the things they would always describe is that if he was talking to you, he had a way of making you feel like you were the only it could be a room full of donors, backers, supporters, other politicians, but he made you feel like in that moment, however much time he gave you or you had with him, that you were the only person that mattered. And that's a skill.
Well, my sister, to that point, was working for a government agency. She was working for the director of government agency, so she had an opportunity to go to an event when he was president. And she was in a line next to her boss, and Clinton stopped and shook hands, and she said exactly that. She goes, when he stopped and talked to me, he made me feel like I was the only person in the room, even if it was for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And that 100% is a skill.
Some of that's natural. And then, so I think so. I mean, you have to have a natural inclination, right?
Correct.
So
you have to want to.
You have to have a natural inclination, and then you refine. It's just like speaking. Right. So you people who are effective speakers have some natural talent.
Correct.
And then they refine that talent to get great.
100%.
But if you fall in that category of terrified to speak or terrified to get in front of a room, you got a much longer road than someone who doesn't have any problem with that. Now it's about refining how you tell a story, where you pause, how you walk the room or whatever. Same thing here from sales.
100%.
So if you got a natural curiosity, that's a great start. But now it's about tactical.
Yes.
And I think so many people, many times, like, oh, I'm just going to lay it out and tell it how it is. And, people should buy based on that, or buy because we're better, or buy. And that's all the wrong, the wrong reasoning.
Well, I don't know what's on that list of 13 at some point
that we haven't even
get
touched
into it.
yet.
Right. But here's something that I've been really, thinking about a lot, because I still work in a sales role on a daily basis. I think timing is at least as important as frequency, and probably even more important than frequency. What frequency does is it increases the likelihood that you get timing right.
Right.
But if you're talking to somebody about something that they don't need, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter how many times you talk to them until they need it. And I use the example, I worked in surgical sales for a long, long time. And if I'm getting ready to go into a shoulder surgery with a surgeon, it doesn't do me any good to talk to him about a knee product. Because he's thinking about it. He's thinking about this shoulder surgery.
Sure.
Now, if I'm talking about something that's going to contribute to the success of this shoulder procedure, that's an engaging conversation, and that's good timing. But if I'm talking about something that doesn't matter at that moment, and that's why I say timing is so important, and what frequency does, and it's probably on your list, what frequency does is increases the likelihood that you're going to get timing right.
All right, I'm adding a cat. I'm going to throw that's a great point. William, hit him, William. When the church say amen. Yeah. So I'm going to throw a curveball in.
Okay.
Because I want to distinguish an additional element here. So you must learn sales skills as a business owner. But here's what we're going to do. I'm tweaking this. Even if you have a sales team.
Yes.
So I want to not just focus on the solo practitioner or the small business owner. I want to focus right now. I'm going to tweak this now conversation in real time here to people who have a sales team. Because what happens is, that you have a sales team. Now, sales team could be one person, could be two people, someone that's not you doing the primary selling in your business.
Right.
Because that almost is a different episode. And that's also a no-brainer that you have to. Come on. If you're the person and you haven't invested, but this is what will happen is, okay, I own a business. Great, Cory. I have a sales team. Right. So, I don't need to know this. I need to know how to operate the business. Right. I don't need to know how to sell. And that's the mistake. So that's the tweak. So I'm going to tweak that, and now we're gonna jump into kind of the list here.
Awesome.
All right, I'm gonna throw it a couple.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw it out in tranches. I'm gonna throw it out. I'm gonna throw a couple at a time. We'll talk about them because we'll never get through.
No, we'll get through.
We'll have we'll be full Rogan. We'll be 4 hours in.
We'll be here until 2025.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'll have to watch the back end analytics of where people start here and then just start dropping off. Right. All right. So here are reasons why business owners must learn sales skills, even if they have a sales team. That's the tweak.
Okay.
Enhanced leadership.
Yes.
Okay. Better decision making.
Yes.
Improved communication.
Yes.
All right. So I don't expect you to say no to any of these. So that's good.
Right.
That we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So enhanced leadership, right? So leading by example, being inspired team, better decision making and the fundamental premise here, and I say this to startup business owners and founders who are the salesperson at first.
Right.
That think they should just not do that and go burn cash to hire a salesperson. How do you know what your sales cycle really looks like? Right. How do you know what the real objections are? How do you know? And not for nothing, folks, save your messages. A lot of salespeople are full of it.
Well,
so how do you know that you're getting, we call that smoke and mirrors. How do you know as a business owner that you're not getting smoked by your salesperson who may be riding out a guarantee, who may be there's a lot of different nuances in there, but how do you know if you don't know what it actually, how do people respond when you ask for the business or when you're presenting a certain element of your product, or what are the right questions to ask? Hit it.
Yeah. I mean, so we'll work backwards, right? Yeah. What are the right questions to ask? How do you know, how do you talk to your salespeople about who's the right people to talk to?
Right.
What are the right questions to ask when you're in front of them? What are the things so if you built this business or you're a leader, an organizational leader, you have to understand who the ideal client is, who your target client is. And then once you get to that target client, what are you talking about? Right. How do you draw out information so that your solution becomes the no-brainer? I mean, throwing up on somebody and getting excited about it is great for you. They feel like they're getting run over. But if they tell you, if you ask a couple of questions and they tell you, these are the things that I'm dealing with, now you have some stickiness so that you can talk about how your solution addresses what they're dealing with. Right. But to your point, going back to the leader, if you can't have those conversations with clients or potential clients, or the people at your level, the leader, the owner, because the salespeople aren't always going to be able to talk to the ultimate decision maker in an organization. Sometimes all they can do is get you in there. And if you give away your juice because you can't have that conversation in a sales capacity, you're giving away business and you're walking away from opportunities.
And how do you even step in? I'm probably jumping ahead, but even the ability to step in to a situation. If you don't have the skills, I remember years ago in the car business, early on, this is, I think, my first job, my first sales job in the car business. And I won't say any names because they're local, where I went. He's long retired. He might even be dead now, but he might be. I'll look him up on Facebook after. But I had a general manager. So in a car dealership, general manager is really the next step under the dealer. So I had a general manager who was not a sales general manager. He's a general manager that was promoted from parts. So he's a parts department manager. Who became general manager. So typically there's not a lot of sales skills involved in that. Not that parts you don't know how to sell. But that's not where, of course, the front end of the business selling the cars is where most general managers come from also. And then they learn the back half of the business. And I will never forget this. And this is over 20 years ago now. God, I'm getting old. I'll never forget this. I was in the showroom. I'm there right now. I was in the showroom dealing with one of my first customers ever. It was probably my first month. And I went to the sales desk, or the tower as we call it. Where he was filling in. I don't know where the other sales manager was, whatever, but he was filling in. And I remember going there and say, hey, here's what they want to do. Need some help. He says to me, just like it was yesterday. He says, what do you want me to do? He said, if I go over there, I'm just going to give it away. That was my leader. But that was not his skill. And he didn't have the skill set. And that skill set now costs that dealership money that day.
Well, every day.
He wasn't typically on the desk. We generally kept him away. So it might have been an emergency. I don't know what happened where a regular guy was.
So that day for sure,
But what do you want me to do? If I go over there, I'm going to give it away. And he was genuinely sincere.
I mean, you've got to be able to contribute to the success of your organization in a way and communicate in a way. Because here's the other thing, and we're going to bounce all over this because here's the other thing. If you can't talk about your product, your company, your organization in a way that's going to resonate, the salespeople are going to lose confidence in you and are going to have a hard time with having any type of enthusiasm or energy to be able to talk about the company. I represented a company that is now a multi-billion-dollar company. At the time was probably about a $500 million company. And the owner of the company would come into opportunities and have conversations with our clients that I was talking to and jump right in. He could have a conversation. He could talk about what they're doing. He could talk about the industry. He could talk about the business. and he could talk about why what his company made could benefit what they're doing.
Yeah.
And he could walk in and walk out, and it didn't matter where he dropped into that conversation.
Right.
And that's part of why it went from a $500 million company to a multi-billion-dollar company.
Yeah. 100%.
Right.
And again, why you would skip, because now most companies don't have the luxury. So when we talk about sales teams,
Right.
I think we're really talking about typically 5 or less.
Right.
Right. In the small business community. Right. So you can't, but what that means though is one person could have the determination between if you have a great month or a terrible month.
Right.
Right. So, and then how do you know what's going on? Because let me tell you how the meeting goes. All right, where are we at with sales? You're going to get 5 different stories.
Right.
Oh, well, I'm working with so-and-so and they're going to call me back and I'm in between this and I'm in between that. Da, 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 da.
Right.
How do you call BS if you don't know what BS even looks like?
Right.
So that's why it's imperative. That can't. Oh well, Cory, I have a sales team for that. That's why I don't have time to invest in those skills.
Right.
Man, if you don't get yourself on a course or at a workshop,
right,
because you're just doing yourself a huge disservice.
All a sales team does for you as a business owner.
And don't turn this off because you don't want to hear it. Somebody's listening to this right now. Like, I don't want to. Right. This is me, but I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. I'm going to turn it off. Don't you turn this off.
Right. All having a sales team does as a business owner and as a leader is it increases your reach. It doesn't replace your need to be able to communicate.
You got to know what's going on. I'm not telling you need to jump on the phone but what if you did need to jump on the phone? Right. What if your team needs help? How do you help them if you're like my guy? Right. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm going to give it away. Right. Because then you're going to get on that call or go out wherever, if it's in person, or get on that virtual or get on the phone, and you're going to go, what would it take to earn your business today? What do we gotta do to make a deal? Yeah, you laugh because you know, and because that's it.
There are people that do.
You know, what would it take to earn your business? What would it take to make a deal? What we gotta do to put this deal together? Right. Well, I don't know. Give it away. Like, I mean, now you open what a terrible open-ended question.
So let's take a step back, and at the very least, you know, you've got to have the ability, and sales is a profession, just like accounting and just like being a doctor and a lawyer, and they're all professions, because as a profession, there are lots of things that you can do to develop your skill and to stay current and then to get better over your entire career.
Well, and that's why, go ahead.
Well, and I was going to say though, but you don't have to be a professional salesperson to be able to sell. What you do What you do have to be able to do though, is you have to be able to engage in conversations about your products and with your clients and with your customers about the things that are going on in your space, and explaining to them why your product and your business and your team is the best solution for them. Right. And that's all we're talking about from a sales standpoint. So if you hear the word sales and you're like, I'm all geeky, I'm going to turn this thing off because I don't want to be all icky. That's on you. Right. Then that's you having a very poor interpretation of understanding what sales truly is. If people want it, they'll buy it. I'll tell you what, I have a saying, nothing speaks for itself, and secrets don't sell unless you're selling intelligence. Right.
Voice of reason.
That is good. You're going to become a soundbite.
Yeah, good. And that's
going to end up in a clip on social media.
But it's you've got to get away from thinking about it in terms of sales are icky and used car sales. You've got to get used to thinking
malpractice.
Yeah, it's a good way to.
It's malpractice to not. If you've identified a customer or client, prospect, whatever word you like, which fits your area, right? And you've identified the fact that your product or solution can help them, right? And you have not done everything you can to show that, explain that, make them aware of that. That's malpractice.
It is.
I'm stunned because I'm going to avoid getting off on a tangent because we're at 3. But I'm stunned at the amount of people that try to connect with me on social media that I, particularly not LinkedIn, but like Facebook and things of that nature, where I have no idea what they do. Right. And I go to their About Them page. There's not where they're from, not where they are, not education. I don't care, but no job description.
Right.
And they have descriptions that they need people to network. The insurance agent,
right,
the financial services guy,
right,
the guy who owns the restaurant around the corner from me.
right.
Like, how do you not? It's just empty, nothing.
Right.
Oh, let's connect.
Right.
Let's not.
Right.
How about a no?
Right. Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming. So, but that's. And I understand you don't have to put the magnet on your car if you don't want to,
Right.
with your face on it.
Right.
But like, come on.
Right.
Why would you not want people to know what you're doing? We've talked about that before, so I'm not going to belabor it. All right, let's go to the next round. Customer insight.
Okay.
So, right, and we've talked about it, so we don't have to belabor. Direct sales experience provides a firsthand understanding of your customers' needs and pain points. Next, strategy development. So, having sales knowledge aids in developing effective sales strategies and identifying new opportunities. Yes. Right. So when we talk strategy, what area we want to go in, knowing what your customers are, or getting that feedback, or redeveloping that ideal audience. And then here's the last one, and I want you to come back in, is crisis management. Right. This interesting one. Owners can step in during critical moments or crises to support the sales team and maintain the momentum.
100%. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing that you need to be able to do.
Somebody's going, I hadn't thought about that one.
Right. Well,
yeah. Willie H. I mean, come on. Something that deserves something there. Holy majoli. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. He's whatever, switching cameras or something.
Yay.
Most people look at this on Stream This. So go ahead.
Well, crisis. I think crisis intervention is an even good way, is as good a way to say it. When something happens in the sales process, if you don't know how to step in or to communicate and overcome some of the things that the salespeople on your team are dealing with, they're struggling. If you can't help them navigate through that, they're never going to be able to navigate through that. And so if you can't show them a path to the other side of crisis, and by intervening, they're going to struggle with that forever. And then you're going to be mad that they're not selling because they keep bumping their head up against it.
And you can't help them.
And you can't give them any solution.
That general manager became worthless to me from that day forward.
And if he was in the tower, you were never going back in the tower.
Right, correct. I'd rather make it up. I'd rather make up what I'd rather be weak with the customer.
Right.
And then just go and say, here, this is all they would do.
Right.
I had zero confidence. My confidence was gone.
Well, at that point, you're asking for forgiveness because you know you're not getting any solution.
Right. Yeah. What do you want me to do? It's like right here. It's like right here.
Right.
What do you want me to do? If I go over there, I'm going to give it away.
Lord have mercy.
VA is his initials. I'm gonna look him up.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's happily retired and did just fine.
Well, let's hope.
Okay, next round: credibility, revenue growth, and a feedback loop. So credibility, right? Of course, demonstrating sales skills enhances the owner's credibility with clients, partners, employees. Revenue growth. Knowledge of sales can directly contribute to identifying ways to increase revenue and improve credibility. And then the last one, feedback loop. Owners can provide valuable feedback to the sales team, helping to refine their techniques and approaches.
100%. And I'm going to really focus in on the credibility piece.
Okay.
You know, as a lifelong sales professional, we're not asking you to be a lifelong sales professional. We're just asking you to get involved in the sales process.
Yes. Invest
in
your education.
Right.
In sales skills.
Here's the thing that people lose sight of.
Maybe I should get a course.
Maybe you should. We could put one together. It'd take us about 5 minutes. People buy confidence. And that's what people lose. That's if you are an owner that doesn't understand or hasn't taken some sales courses, sales programming, people buy confidence. They buy confidence in you, and they buy confidence in your ability to deliver on what you say you're going to do.
I'm going to be scooping ice cream.
Yay. I'll tell you what.
I'm going down to the corporate stores and I'm going to be scooping ice cream and because I don't know.
Right.
I mean, I'm the strategy. My role is strategy.
Well,
I want to know.
I would offer to come down there with you. Problem is that you would lose more in profits than we would scoop. Because I know what
you get one scoop per shift.
Okay.
So, you came down for a few days. But I think it's important to know, right?
It is important.
I'm going to make it. I've never made the ice cream.
Right.
So I want to get involved to it's just the reverse, right?
Right.
Because I know what I know.
Right.
Now I need to be able to know some other things to be able to have deeper conversations. Now, I'm never going to be your first call,
right?
For a franchisee. I'm not going to be the first call, but I need to know what's going on.
You do. Here's, and I'm going to turn this around because what you're doing to go down there and scoop ice cream and understand the store and at that level is incredibly important. Here's the challenge that owners have that haven't taken sales courses or haven't taken sales skills. They talk about their processes to people that want to buy, and the people that want to buy don't care.
They want their outcome.
They want the how does this take care? Help me do what I need to do.
Correct.
And is it going to help me do what I need to do? Mm-hmm. And then you can tell me about how you're going to do it afterwards. Right. But I don't care how it happens.
Right.
And goes back to confidence, right? If I believe in you and believe that you believe you can take care and help me solve my problem or help me do what I need to do.
Right.
Then we'll talk about how that can happen. But if you don't have sales skills, you get so deep into the weeds that you lose people.
And, the old mantra used to be features and benefits, when in reality, it's benefits, then features.
Oh, benefit.
Yeah, correct.
And then once they buy, then you can talk about the feature.
I watched the videos with the, variants on selling the pin and, sell me this pin and this whole thing. And one of the guys I liked the most, he was like, well, I don't even know that you need the pin.
Right.
Let's talk about that first.
Right.
Right. What do you use a pin for right now?
Right.
And what kinds of pins do you use now?
Right.
Like it was good.
Perfect. Yeah, it was
right.
Really good.
On a old played out thing.
Right.
But it was like, I can see how this is, because when you watch other amateurs do it, they're struggling. Like, see, I have this great pin today, and it's going to help you write. And I just love when he's like, well, before I even start, I don't know that this is even for you.
Right. Like, what are you doing with it?
Yeah. Let's talk about that first.
Right.
And it's just it's a dynamic. It's, good salespeople plan what to say, great salespeople plan what to ask.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Come on now, Willie H. Woo. When the church saying amen. Now right. I'm not supposed to tell you to hit the button. Willie H.
Hit the buttons, William.
Yeah. Please. He's working on he wants to make sure Lon, for those of you streaming, he wants to make sure LG 007 has a nice cross shot.
Oh.
He's making some adjustments in here. All right, let me round out. Let's go. I'm going to throw the last four out there.
Yeah, please.
And we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Negotiation skills.
Yes.
So sales skills, of course, enhance negotiation capabilities,
right.
Which, of course, is beneficial in everything.
Right.
Not just direct sales.
Right.
Adaptability. So understanding sales trends and techniques allow for quicker adaptation to market changes and customer demands. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of real estate agents panicking out there because now you can negotiate fees and things of that nature.
Right.
So that's going to require training. How do you have that conversation now that some things are negotiable?
Right.
And whatever these laws and rules are.
Right.
What does that mean now? Are you just going to lay down for whatever somebody's willing to give you? Mm-hmm. So I think there's a tremendous opportunity in that field for people who do sales training, because now they're going to have to address that for people and give them a way to do that. Culture building.
Yes.
A sales savvy owner can cultivate a sales driven culture throughout the organization. And finally, their own personal development.
Yes.
Continuously learning and improving sales skills contributes to personal growth and professional development. Hop in wherever you like.
Two things. Culture building is a huge one. And when the owner of the company or the highest level leader in your building, whatever it invests in becoming a better salesperson and learns how to communicate as a sales professional and takes that seriously. I don't say you have to be a sales professional, but you need to be able to communicate at a certain level. Everybody else in the organization knows that that's important, and they're going to take it seriously too.
Right.
Not just the sales team, the person who's at the front desk when they walk in, the person who is out doing some sales support, doing some operational support in the field. Everybody in that organization sees the owner of the company investing in the ability to communicate effectively to customers, clients, and prospects. Everybody else is going to want to learn how to do that too, because they see that that's important. And that's the culture piece. And then what was the last one that you said? Personal development?
The last one was personal development. Yeah.
You got to get better at something. Why not get better at talking about your business?
Right. It amazes me. It truly amazes me.
It does.
That, it's a secret society. So, folks, the underlying factor here is, if it's not something you've paid attention to, A, we want to put that on your radar.
Right.
Number two is there are a ton of options.
Yes.
Now, there are some classics, right? You can go to any bookstore right now and look for Jeffrey Gitomer and look for some classics in that area.
Right.
There are some new people that have come on the scene, like Jeremy Minor and some people like that are worth looking up.
Right.
But there are people that have been around forever. The Dale Carnegie, that have some sound practices.
Very structured, right?
Right. And you may want to look at where you are in that process to figure out. But if you're not a course person, get to something live. Get to a live event.
Right.
If you're not a book person, get video on demand.
Right.
If you're not a video person, if you're an audio, get it in an audiobook. So you can figure out the way that works best for you. The issue is making a decision to get better,
right,
or a better understanding of sales,
right,
particularly modern sales strategies.
right,
Right. And I'll go one step further. Modern sales strategies that protect or enhance your gross profit opportunities. This should have been something.
Yay.
Well, that's not what it should have been. When the church say amen. See, I'm going to stop giving him credit at the beginning, early on the show, and I'm only going to praise on him if we make it through the show successfully. Go ahead.
I've stepped on him a couple of times, so I feel bad. Here's the thing that having some sales understanding does for you, and you've alluded to it in a number of different ways, so I'm going to come out and say it. It gives you the ability to know when to walk away when a deal's not for you. And if you can't walk away, if you don't know when to walk away, your salespeople don't know when to walk away. So now it's a race to the bottom, and maybe you're giving stuff away. Like the GM
right,
who had the parts background. He goes, if I go out there, I'm giving it away.
Right.
If you don't know when to walk away, you can't tell your people when to walk away, and you don't have a true understanding of the value of what you're doing in the marketplace. Period.
Yeah. And that's, this isn't just for sophisticated sales. This applies to your brick and mortar store location.
Right.
In terms of how you sell a customer or upsell a customer.
Right.
How many little things are lost just by tweaking, asking a customer at the end of a transaction,
right, if
they want to add anything additional, or making a suggestion of what that should be.
Right.
Just like that. You create an opportunity.
Right.
Would you like to put this in a waffle cone?
There you go.
Right. Oh,
right.
I'd like 2 scoops. In a cup. Would you like to upgrade to a waffle cone
with sprinkles?
Would you like to add sprinkles?
100%.
Right. All of those things, particularly in a commoditized business where you need a billion transactions to truly make money. Right. That has value. Right. I got 5 people working at the ice cream shop. If each person is asking, would you like to put that in the upgrade to a waffle cone and add sprinkles?
Right.
I will sell more waffle cones, which have a high profit margin.
Yes.
And I will sell sprinkles, which is basically just pure sugar.
Right.
And high margin.
Yeah. bringing it back around to what you said in the very beginning, people get frustrated. They talk about, well, these, franchises come in and they start to eat their lunch. It's because
they've
the
got systems and processes.
They've got systems, and they teach people how to talk to their customers. Mm-hmm. And that's everybody.
Yeah.
Would you like a waffle cone? Would you like sprinkles? Would you like whipped cream on top of that? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Would you like, we're offering, if you buy one scoop, you get this. We're offering an opportunity to get a second scoop at a beneficial price or at a better rate or whatever. It's the ability to incrementally add some things to your business. It's the ability to communicate to the clients and customers. It's all the things that you talked about, learn about what's going on in the marketplace. If people say no, people are going to say no more than they say yes, for sure.
Right.
And you've got to understand what that feels like too as an owner, because your salespeople go out there and get beat up all the time. So if you have salespeople on your team that go out there and get beat up all the time, go out there and suck it up, Buttercup, and take it like they do.
Or, and it changes your understanding of what's really happening.
Correct.
Right. I mean, it's kind of like, a lot of times when I work with creative people, to me, you're smiling, but it's like, hey, or Willie H, I'm like, all right, great. We're editing something. Where is it? I was just here 15 minutes ago.
Right.
Like, why isn't it not done yet?
Right.
So, but when I jump in and know enough to be dangerous in a lot of these areas,
right.
I get it done faster, but it also helps me better understand.
Right.
I have a better sense of what it takes. My web developer loves when I go in the back end and start, moving stuff around, but I have a better understanding of how long or short, cause I will also go, 2 days, dude.
Right.
Come on.
Right.
You obviously, so I have a barometer on that, and that's just another area too. So if you know that you have a longer sales cycle, you may not want to hear about, I think it's going to take 2 or 3 more meetings. Oh, no, it's not. Or vice versa.
Right. Or it shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. This shouldn't be this complicated.
Right.
How I know? Because I wrote the first 35 deals at this company.
Right. And so, you can say, take me to the next meeting with you and let's go figure this out.
Yeah, correct. And be able to add value.
Well, that's my point,
right. Not be an 100%. Observer.
Like you can reduce that one extra meeting that's necessary.
Well, and folks, we're wrapping it up here, but this can start. What I love about this, if you care to take action, is this can be a $12 decision.
Right.
Right. This could be something as simple as a book to get started.
Right.
This can be a $12 decision. This can be a $12,000 decision. This can be a $100,000 decision, depending on where you are, what you're trying to get. Obviously there's companies that come in and revamp whole sales teams, but you could get started.
Right.
This is arguably free.
What you have to invest in.
Although I hate that.
Well, it's not free
because the information anybody can say they're a sales expert, and put out a free
time.
video.
You have to invest the investment on your end at the very minimum is a commitment to time to understand the sales process.
All right. There it is. I think I'm going to start doing like how just movies sometimes just end.
Right.
Okay, we're done.
Right.
And then it just shuts off. There's no music. We're just like, fini.
Right.
What is it? Finito.
Right.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you later. And then it just ends. That'll be controversial. We got to shake it up here, It'll
be like the Sopranos, that last Sopranos.
Oh, God,
episode.
Please don't even get me started on how terribly that ended. All right, folks. Well, we are not going to leave you hanging like the Sopranos did. I have no idea. And we never, unfortunately, will know because James Gandolfini, unfortunately, is no longer with us.
Right.
But we're still here.
Yes, we are.
And hopefully we will be back once again next week to continue this conversation and do one thing, to help you grow, because that's what we do at the Grow Business Podcast. I'm Cory Mosley, and who are you?
I'm Lon Graham.
Lon Graham, LG007.
Yeah. Say thanks for coming, and thanks for coming back.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back. As always, we appreciate your streamership. Whether you're streaming across one of our platforms like Spotify, Apple, Google Play, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or you're watching us on YouTube. We appreciate it, and I invite you to head over to CoryMosley.com and join the new e-newsletter where we're sharing more business growth content with you. Yeah, that's it. On behalf of myself, Lon Graham, and Willie H., This has been the Grow Business Podcast. We will see you next week. Willie H., take us out.
You're right. This didn't lend itself to pros and cons.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, because there isn't the con, right?
Well,
I mean, there's no downside to learning skills.
Well, the only downside is if you don't do it, you pay for it.
That is correct.
That's the only. It's like 500,000 pros.
Right. You're going to pay in lost sales. You're going to pay in lost revenue. You're going to, whether you know it or not. Right. That's the key.
Well, and the reality of it is you know less of it because you haven't given yourself an opportunity.
That's right. You haven't even seen what's possible.
Correct.
Because of those things.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well, another good one in the books.
Done. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. That one's softer.
Hard hands, Graham. That's what I'll start calling you.
Wash with soft soap.
Is that what the difference is? Okay.
Mr. Clean
Yow.
and soft soap.
Yow.